quite a hectic day. It's been nice though. So it's I always find these sessions just a place to breathe and to kind of catch my own breath and enjoy the space and recognize friendly faces. And I think a big part of these sessions is like our organization's commitment to supporting our members. And I suppose our members are anybody really that's interested in education and releasing creativity in children. So and then we find that just being able to meet every second week, share ideas and maybe a couple of tools that you can use in your own spaces can be really helpful. And so I just noticed there's a chat. It's just Abigail saying, hi, everyone. Thank you very much. So some people have got their cameras off and some people have them on. So I think, you know, with Zooming, it's nice to be able to have the freedom to show up in as much ways you want to show up. But it's also nice just to see people's faces and so we know who's on the call. And there's Sibo Hazet. He's always a special guy and it's always so nice to have you on the calls. So thank you very much for making an effort to come. No, so maybe there's only a couple of us and some weeks we have a lot, some weeks we have a couple. So maybe just to do a quick round of introducing yourself to the group and maybe just saying hi. So my name's Raymond. I'm the, I suppose, I hate to say I'm the director of ECL because I would get fired if I was the real director of ECL. So I'm not going to say that, but I'm passionate about ECL, that I can say. And I love the work and I love the energy that happens when people come together. And so it's really good to see everybody. It's and I like showing up like this and carrying the momentum forward. So I'm excited about tonight and I'm very intrigued how it's going to unravel. So that's me. And I've had quite a nice day because I've worked with a lot of clients and we've been working on all sorts of things about changing their lives. So there we are. I just got a notice from Janet asking for someone to email her the link. So I don't know, Heaven, if you can just forward her the link if it's possible that she can join us. That'll be great. Yeah, so I don't know, Heidi, you're on my left-hand side. I don't know if you want to check in. I'm dying to hear your voice because it's such a tantalizing voice.
Hi, everybody. I'm pretty new to ECL, but I also, like Raymond, love what happens when we come together. And I'm a learner. I love learning new things. I haven't, since COVID, coached children rock climbing, so I'm missing that and hoping to get back to that soon and bring in some of these tools. And yeah, women's empowerment, that's my passion. Children and women. I don't hate men, I love them. It's just they're not playing part of my life at the moment. Yeah, that's me.
Great, thanks Heidi, it's lovely. And Reggie, it's good to see you. You say you're going off grid on Friday, so I'm very happy to see you before you disappear into the ether.
Yeah, I'm hoping I can still connect in some way. I believe the reception is not that great, but wherever I can, I'll try to do that. I just thought I should warn you. Yeah, hi Heidi, nice to see you, nice to meet you, Spo. It's always good seeing you. Most of the time you hide, we never see your face, so it's so nice to see you. Maukana, hello, and Palis as well. Yeah, no, I am Reggie. I'm one of the directors. I'm not going to be shy like Ray is playing all shy. He's a director, one of the directors of ECL. If you can be just a little patient with me, I'm feeling a bit queasy. I just had my second jab today, so I'm feeling a bit funny. But I'm so grateful to be able to do that. So yeah, my relationship with ECL is about two going for 3 years slowly. I'm finding myself in a bit of a weird space. I love ECL's work. I'm very passionate about it. I'm passionate about enhancing, empowering and enhancing education, and making people's lives better. And when I say better, it's not only their well-being, but also the economics as well. So I'm finding myself in that space at the moment, wearing two hats. And yeah, it's yeah, I'm trying to find my balance to juggle those two, but I'm in a happy space with both. Yeah, that's me.
Beautiful, thank you. So Sibu, nice to hear from you. What's up? Just a quick check-in to tell us how you've been, and take your place.
Hi, Raymond. I'm not sure how do I introduce myself to the larger group, but yeah, I've been a student of ECL for some time now. I think I'm in a grateful and a journey of, imparting the knowledge and enhancing, a general well-being of, peoples that I'm actually attached to.
Sibu, I think something's happened with your data.
Yeah, your reception is not that great.
Yeah, so Sibu, when you can come back. Palisa, I don't know if you want to just introduce yourself or say hi. It would be nice to hear your voice at least. Ah, there we go. Ah, there you are.
Hi, everyone.
Wow.
How are you? My name is Palisa. I run an organization that's called Tulips Male Child. And we work with male children. We offer them leadership skills and life coaching. I actually got the link from Tabi saying, I don't know what does she call herself there at work. And then she said, I can join you guys so that I can hear and learn more, so that I can impart with the boys. So that's basically me.
Wow. Sure. So I think you and Heidi need to get together.
Okay.
Wow, what a combination. Empowering men and empowering women. And you're on top of each other on my screen. You're on top of each other.
Is it?
And Heidi's on top of you. So I promise you there's something beautiful there. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, that's good. And Maukana, sorry. I don't know if you can come online and just introduce yourself. Very good. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that for a little bit. And Abigail, you said you couldn't use your camera today, but it'd be nice to hear. Okay, she said, Abigail says she can't speak now, but she's right here. And then Heaven, how you been today? Oh, there's Maukani now, sorry.
Yes,
Hi.
good. Okay.
Hi, everyone. My name is Heaven, and I am the ECL support. I've been here since April of this year, and I've been enjoying my experience, in my contribution to enhancing children's learning, and I'm looking forward to seeing how things go in the future. Yeah, it's nice to see you all.
Wow, excellent, thanks. The Maukana, is that you're good to, yes.
Yes, Raymond. I'm the principal of Moria Primary School. So I'm passionate about this education for the little ones. I have 24 years experience teaching foundation phase. So this link, I've been given it by Busiso to join you so that I can learn more.
Beautiful.
It's also, I'm very much passionate about it.
Wow, that's beautiful. It's so nice and very welcome, to have a principal who's giving up her time. And I know how principals are pressured to be able to
Yes.
show up in this way. Deep gratitude and deep respect. Thank you.
Yes, yes, yes.
That's lovely. So maybe, so today's theme is about place and finding your place, and the importance of place in the classroom, and the importance of place in life, and knowing your place. And so ECL's got some beautiful, let me show you our very impressive, it's coming on, I don't know why it's, looks like, oh, there it is. Share. So this is a very impressive map of belonging, time, place, and exchange. And these are what we call the 4 orders. And these 4 orders are like invisible forces that govern a system, that govern a classroom even, govern a school, or govern a staff room. And when these 4 orders are respected and honored, and there's a balance and harmony, then the system is able to function freely and with love and with ease. But when one of these elements are out of place or out of order, then the whole system shudders. And it's very difficult to, it's harder to be able to allow the system to do what it's meant to do. And last week we introduced the idea of place. And the place is everything that we ask 3 questions, like past, present, and future. So for place in the past, we ask, like, is everybody who's not being included, who in the past hasn't been in their right place? And then in the present, we ask the question, is everyone in their right place for things to work well? And then we think about the future, and then what position does everybody have to be at ease? So as you can all see, this is like a really super duper sophisticated, very complicated picture. And then I always ask myself, how do you translate all of this information into a classroom where the children can understand it? So I want to share with you a story. So I'm going to change my screen. So this is actually a story that came from this Mrs. Brancatzi's class in the United States. And they were teaching the children about place and the importance of place, and how to find a way of showing the children how much easier life is when you find your place, but without showing them that a very impressive graph. So with children, you always tell them a story. So I want you to let yourselves get in touch with your child, and I'm going to tell you a story. So the story basically begins by this little girl, and her name is Santosa. And so this is a story about Santosa. So one day when Santosa left her house, it was a bright and sunny day. So as you're sitting listening to the story, you can imagine the children in the classroom listening to the story. And then the children were invited then to draw pictures about the story. So Santosa left the house, but she felt mixed up, almost like she was all out of order. Her head felt huge and her feet even bigger. She started walking through the woods to her favorite tree. And even though the sky was blue and the birds were chirping, she could not feel the sun on her body or in her heart. And this is one of the children that drew the picture of Santosa leaving the house. Even though it was sunny and the sky was blue, she felt out of order. And her head felt huge and her feet felt big. And then another child in the class also drew the same picture. And there's the picture of the blue sky and the tree and leaving her house. And there she is, with big feet. And
Ray, are
big
you
head.
showing us pictures? We don't see pictures.
Oh, no. I don't know why. So let me try.
We're still on the 4 orders.
Oh, okay. So let me share again. Maybe it didn't move. Sorry. Oh, what a pity. Thank you for letting me know. That would have been terrible. Let's start at the beginning. Okay, there we go. There's the story. So there's the writing. So she leaves her house. It's a bright sunny day. She feels mixed up, almost like she was all out of order. Her head felt huge and her feet even bigger. And she started walking through the woods to her favorite tree. Even though the sky was blue and the birds were chirping, she could not feel the sun on her body or in her heart. And then there's another picture of this little boy, there's Santosa, big feet and a big head, and there's her tree, and she's moving out. And then, so as Santosa walked further, the path started to twist and turn. And there were so many vines and branches in a way, she felt that she would never find her way. No matter how big her head and her feet were, they were no help. And there's another kid, he drives a big trees, and you can see he's lost, and you can see the smallness and the bigness and the big head. And no matter what, he just couldn't find his way. But Santosa was not scared. She was used to being a big girl. Often Santosa's mom would get sick, and she needed to take care of her younger brothers and sisters. As Santosa got further into the forest, she started to long for something, but could not put her finger on what it was. And there's a kid drawing that picture of being lost in the forest and having to look after the brothers and sisters and having to be a big girl and knowing that there was something that wasn't right, but you just can't put a finger on it. After a while, she saw an owl, and the owl kept calling out, "Hoo, hoo." And the owl was like her uncle, who she had a soft place in her heart for, even though he was not always talked about in a good way. Santosa started back on the path, and all of a sudden the owl began to call her and to lead her on. Her heart began to feel something began to change. And so there's a beautiful picture, and the little girl writes there, "Change." You can see her big feet and a little smile, and there's the owl leading her forward. And even in the background, you can see the sadness of this little image of the waterfall coming down. Then they met a fox. She seemed to ask, why? The fox was like her grandmother. Santosa was always told how hard her grandmother's life was as a child. And Santosa was filled with love for her grandmother. And so she started to walk along the path. But the fox wanted to lead the way. She would not let Santosa be the big one. So the fox wanted to lead the way. She would not let Santosa be the big one. And that's really like, there's Avery, there's the owl. Santosa relaxed again, and she began to see and smell the flowers and hear the birds. She was beginning to find her way. And then she writes, "Hi, my name is Santosa." And you can see the picture, it's really beautiful. She was beginning to find her way. And there's another picture as well of another kid of Santosa beginning to find her way. Then she saw a small rabbit. The small rabbit looked like she was carrying the weight of the world on its shoulders. The rabbit was barely able to move. And Santosa saw her mother in her. Then an amazing thing happened. The fox gently picked the rabbit up and placed it on its back. The rabbit snuggled into the fox while the owl quietly flew near them. Santosa saw them all take the lead, and she felt full of gratitude. Things were finally beginning to come back into order. So just allow yourself to feel what happens when you look at that picture and you hear that Santosa, when the fox gently picked up the rabbit and placed it on its back, and the rabbit snuggled into the fox while the owl quietly flew near them, And Santosa saw them all take the lead, and she felt full of gratitude. Things were finally beginning to come back into order. And there's a fox with the rabbit. It's a nice looking little fox. Little squirrels came prancing beside her. She felt light and decided to play with them. She came to an opening in the forest where she saw her favorite tree beside the river. And there's the squirrels, and there's her favorite tree, and there's the girl, Santosa. Santosa was so enchanted, she sat down next to the tree. She felt the strength and beauty of the tree as she stared through its branches. The fox, the bunny, and owl found their right place, and the squirrels felt just right beside her. Santosa could now feel the sun on her and her heart filled with love. There's a tree and there's everybody in their right place. Santosa skipped all the way with joy and love and felt things were right again. And there's Santosa skipping la 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 and feeling everything's right again. When Santosa returned home, her mother was at the kitchen table. She told Santosa, "I love you, and you will always be my little one. Look, Grandma has come to help us. Uncle has brought her. We can all be together again until I feel better. Go wash up for dinner. Father will be coming home soon." Santosa skipped away, light on her feet and a heart filled with love. She was in her right place at last. So there's a beautiful story. And I see there's some, so just as you've heard the story, and that story is about that very complicated idea of everybody needs to know their place. And so I'm just curious what impact listening to that story and seeing those drawings has had on you when you just recognize something, there's like a mystical truth in that story. So I'm just curious what comes up for you. So I don't know, Heidi, I don't know, Reggie. So Abigail says, this story opens up my eyes to another reality that others may experience and I may not know or see. Yeah. That's really, yeah, it's like it does open up. Stories do that, they open up that kind of, what is that about? Reggie, I don't know if you can talk or not.
I found it very moving, I must say. I felt a certain emotion, a very moving emotion. I must say, it kind of like it makes you feel, you know, how important is, you know, belonging is. It really does for me.
Yeah. So there's like, so when you start engaging with these orders of love, the belonging, place, time, and exchange, there's like a wisdom that pulls at our heart. And so when you hear a story about place and how this little girl finds her place in the family, it's like, yeah, there's a good resonance. It's like pulls in our hearts. Now, Heidi, have you got any ideas or anything that you'd like to add?
The usual thing, I'm ready to cry. I had the privilege of helping somebody find their place, create a space that they could call home. And that the story reminded me of when I sat on the broken steps, and I had the privilege of seeing the joy that a tin shack can give somebody, and the freedom that it can give somebody. Yeah, it's a privilege.
Yeah, thanks. And Palisa, for yourself, when you hear the story, do you have any thoughts or comments?
Sure. With me, I don't know if I will be relevant or anything like that, but I just like the different types of the animals that were used. The owl being the uncle, the fox being the grandmother, and the rabbit being the mother. That alone just makes me understand that we have different personalities, and one can still belong in those personalities, irrespective of how they appear. So it's a powerful story.
Yes. So
Thank
like you can
you.
see how it resonates to stuff inside you. Yeah. No,
Yes, yes.
no, thank you. It's very beautiful. And I see Abigail reads the creativity, playfulness, and aliveness like our byproducts of belonging. I could feel her joy at the end. And it's nice to know that like the children in the class were taken through a journey, literally, of finding. It starts off with disorder. The little girl doesn't know her place. Her feet are big and her hands are big, and she's struggling to walk because of that. But slowly but surely, she finds a place in her family. She gives her uncle his place. But we'll come back to that anyway. So, Maokana, have you got anything you'd like to add? Technology is good sometimes. And I see, Livu, you joined us and you're very welcome. We're busy sharing this idea of the importance of place in systems or in classrooms or in families, and how when everybody knows their place and they find like a kind of strength in their place.
Hi, Raymond.
Yes, hi.
Yes, I think this is about identity. There are different animals used here. One need to belong to somewhere, meaning even the children in class, they are different and they are learning differently, but they need to know that they must identify themselves. You see, they must by engaging with the topics or the lesson in class. Identity here, I think, is one of the most important things that I'm learning about. Thank you.
Yeah, you're right. It's like when you find your place and you know where your place is, you tap into that strength of being who you really are.
Yes, yes.
So when you're not in your place, your identity kind of gets shaken around because you're not connecting with your authentic self. You're connecting with somebody else's authentic self.
Mm-hmm.
You're standing in someone else's place.
Yes, belonging.
Yeah.
Is very, yes. Yeah.
Definitely.
Thank you.
So Reggie says, I'm finding it very emotional. Just to tap into that. There's Sibu's back. Shame, man. Good. So let me just go back to the slideshow and maybe just talk to the slideshow a little bit more to give you a sense of why this thing around place is so important. So as you can see, there's the arrow, past, present, and future. And I'm taking a while just to, there we go. So across there, right. So the idea of place, your right place. So each person needs to find their right place in the family, a place they can trust, and which gives them safety and an inner quiet so that they can work at their best. And when someone operates from the right place, this is marked by feelings of innocence, rightness, and ease. So if you think about the story, it was almost like a journey of this little girl, first of all, feeling out of order. Something is out of balance. And then slowly going on this journey into the forest to this tree where her favorite tree. And then she meets people in her family that are not in their right place. And so she's not in her right place. So as she gets closer to the tree, she starts discovering her right place. And the more she finds her right place, the more free she feels and the more celebrating of life she can be. That's a past, present. No, it's all a bit heavy. Nice. Okay, I can leave all that out. Actually, let me go back to the 4 orders. So like say, for instance, just when you think about the story, when she was walking along and then she meets the owl. And then she says, I have a special place in my heart for the owl, even though people say bad things about him. And so in a way, she gives her uncle a place in the family system by including him in her heart. And so part of her journey to find place is almost like who's not given their place in the past. So in other words, like who's being ignored or refused admittance into the system. And then as she journeys on, she gets to a place where everyone finds their place and they're in their right place. So that beautiful slide when the fox has got the rabbit on his shoulders and the owl is flying in the top. That's a way of saying everybody has their right place in her family system. And then the last bit is like, is everybody in the right position for the system to be at ease? So when she gets back home and mom's in the kitchen and mom says, okay, it's time for dinner. And I'm always the big one and you're always the small one. And your granny is going to come and help us and your uncle will join us as well. Then the little girl feels everybody is in their right place and I can relax and I can just get on with my life and be who I'm supposed to be. So there we go. So that's the kind of sense of this idea of place. And being one of the 4 orders, it's almost if the children in the class aren't in their right place, or the teacher in the class isn't in their right place, or even if the principal of the school isn't in her right place, it upsets the entire system. So when you start paying attention to this element of place in the system, then everything is easier and the system is able to flow more freely. So are there any questions at this stage?